Professor Janssen had to look at what do schools do that perform quite well, especially in different circumstances. And he identified 7 habits of performing schools, or schools that perform in their circumstances very well. The first thing was time management. When we started with the schools, we had to look at their timetables first of all. And we found that a lot of schools experience problems with getting the right teachers to the right subject optimally. They combine classes, so they're sitting with these overcrowded classrooms of 60 learners, but you found that 2 teachers have been allocated to the subject, so one teaches only half the time and the other teaches the other half of the time, and they manipulate in such a way to get some off time. So we went to the schools and assisted with that. And that's apart from time management in the classroom, getting there on time and teaching until the bell rings. The other one is content knowledge. Some of the teachers lack a lot of content knowledge, and especially in the lower grades. They will give the one with the content knowledge to the grade 12s, and the grade 8 and 9s, you had somebody that's never taught science at all to teach the science part of natural sciences. But even where teachers had content knowledge, their ability to convey that to the learners, their pedagogical knowledge lacked. And that's where the mentors could play a big role to assist those teachers with methodologies and different ways of actually teaching. A fourth one is the instructional leadership. The leadership team, the management teams of schools are so bogged down with administration work that their role as leaders are really suffering. The schools that we work on, I don't think we'd find one principal really getting involved in the classroom, in the curriculum, in the teaching of what's happening at the school. They needed a lot of training on instructional leadership and assistance with that, and advice on how to actually manage the admin and still get around to doing that. The fifth one was parental involvement. You would find in schools they'd have parent meetings and the parents would come, but the parents don't really know their role in assisting the learners at home. That's why at many of the schools during exam time they would take the grade 12s out of their home environment and put them in a hostel somewhere at another school and keep them there for the whole exam, so that they can have an environment where study can take place. So working with the parents, helping the school to address that is also one of the things that we look at. Then, of course, resources. We found schools with a big shortage of chairs and tables, and we assisted where we could. But a lot of schools would say that they need, for instance, a science lab. When our science mentor starts scratching in the cupboards and stuff, he would find brand new equipment that's just never been used. We would find computer labs not being used. So having the equipment but not knowing how to use it doesn't help at all. And that's also where our mentor went in, assisted the science teacher to pack out the stuff, look what is necessary for each experiment, and start using that. Our maths mentor, she assisted the schools with the computer labs to say, how can you use this in the lower grades to assist the learners with mental maths, reading programs and things like that. These resources are just dumped at schools without support for the schools. They go on a 1 or 2 day course and then they're supposed to be able to use it. Having the mentors on site every week really helps the schools. And the 7th one is actually helping the schools to harness all these projects, because from the private sector side there are so many projects and involvement at the schools. One of the interesting things that we found at the schools is when you go to them for the first time and you ask them about what other projects are here, they would keep quiet about the other projects, because they're so afraid that you might just decide that, oh, if you already got this, then we're not going to take your school, we'll do something else. We realize there's a lot of projects, and if we just all pull in the same direction, we could really start making a difference. So we are assisting the schools to do exactly that.